Okay, today we're going to be talking about, what are we talking about again, Michael?
We're talking about how to build decks and what separates a good card from a bad card. And we're going to use the Six Samurai archetype as an example.
We're not using the OCG stuff, even though we know it's probably coming out or whatever, because that's a whole new different game. I'm just going with basic TCG Six Samurais.
Yeah. All right. So, obviously, all right. So, we'll start at the top and work our way down. Chamberlain, probably not. Don't put it. It doesn't do anything for your deck other than add a Six Samurai name, and there's plenty of cards that do that. It's a normal monster. It doesn't do anything. So skip over that. Uh, Great Shogun Shien. Now, this is a card that I've seen a lot of people go back and forth on. I don't like it. I don't like having to control two or more face-up Six Samurai monsters to special summon it, because there are times, because if anything bad happens, right? If anything bad happens and you can only get out one, or they bottomless you, or they stop you in some way, shape, or form, it's the worst feeling ever to just go, top deck, I lose because I drew Great Shogun Shien, and he feels like he's a win harder card to me.
Yeah, he doesn't really progress the game. I guess like Michael said, he is a win harder card. You don't win, it's not good to top deck.
Same
Uh,
thing with same thing with the next card, Inshi's Chancellor. Although on Great Shogun Shien, on a side note, he does have really good synergy with their Synchro monster, but we'll get into that later. And I think that's why people end up running Great Shogun Shien is because of the synergy with the legendary Six Samurai Shien, which is their Synchro. All right. Inshi's Chancellor. Uh, don't like this card either. He requires he can't be normal summoned or set and must be special summoned from your hand by banishing two Six Samurais from your graveyard, and can't be special summoned by other ways, which means that there are other cards in the deck that like special summon out Six Samurais for the deck from the deck, and he doesn't. And what he does is he's one less target for those cards, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But it's the fact that he also requires you to have two in your graveyard, which is easier than having Shien, Great Shogun Shien, and he's a better top deck. But I also feel that like he is his effect to pop a monster and not attack is too big of a hindrance when you could most of the other Six Samurais do better things.
yeah, I've run him before, but even when I ran him, it didn't feel like he was a great card. He just doesn't do enough. That, and he can't attack the turn he activates his effect, so you might as well be running Chaos Sorcerer.
Yeah,
It,
he's also a level 6, which doesn't help the deck in the slightest.
yeah, so I don't like him. I think he's terrible. I've tried him once or twice and never got him to like successfully do anything.
Yeah.
We
All right.
can move on. Grandmaster is
Here's
Six Samurai. I like this card. I like it at 1. It's a fun card because it also gives you a target for one of your spells in a really
uh,
janky situation.
I dislike this card too, and the reason I dislike this is where
Wait,
I
I
just feel
like it.
like there's a I know you do, but I dislike this card because I feel like one of the other Six Samurais does his job better. He has less attack. The other Six Samurai has less attack, but he can get up to the same amount of attack. He has a Sure, Grandmaster has a recursion effect, but it also comes down to top decking again, right? You top deck him, he's a dead card. I like to have my decks have consistency, to have every card, almost every single card I draw is relevant in almost any circumstance, which means that like Grandmaster can be a dead card and is not that great. And there also goes to a lot of the other Six Samurais. They don't do anything. The other ones that we talked about too, like Shogun Shien. I build my deck for consistency and then and for more power and then power, because he's also one of those cards. He's a less win harder card, but he's still a win harder card.
Nah, he gets you counters for your gate.
So does red and blue, but we'll get into that later.
We'll move on from him. Then the next one that's not OCG is Zanji, I believe. I like running him at 1.
Yeah, I like running him at 1 for their spell card with Kizun.
Yeah.
For asceticism and Kizun, because then it just throws out another one. Although I have considered not running him and running the Grandmaster instead for the similar purpose. But every time I ran Grandmaster, I'd run into a situation where I just hated it.
Yeah.
But if we're in agreement for Zanji, I'll throw him in the deck.
Yeah, no, Zanji's definitely good. We don't agree on Grandmaster, fine. But Kizun, I run 3.
Easy. 3, because
he makes you access rank 4 in the deck, or he gives you access to your synchro plays. He's just there. He is an easy. I don't even think we have to discuss why he's good. He special summons himself, and he gets that attack boost if there's more on the field, which there is going to be more. And with gate at 1 now, you can loop him a few times.
Not only that, he also is a level 4 monster, so even if you don't have another 6 Samurai in your hand, you can just normal summon him, and he's still an 1800 beat stick.
Yeah. Next is Iru. I like 1 of him, for the pure fact that... Oh, there is no reason, I just like him.
I don't like him because I don't see him as a good enough card to make the cut.
I guess. I always liked him, but I can agree with that. If you don't like him, I have no real other reason other than the fact that if you get your level 3 out and he's at 1700 because another 6 Samurai's out, you just have an Iru right from the deck. But that's about all he does is give you those plays.
Yeah.
And with the new OCG, he gives you way more plays, but we're not at that yet. Or we're not doing that. Inishi?
Mixed feelings, because as you said, he has the same reason for Iroh, right? Like, you could throw him out with asceticism if you have Kizun, or not Kizun, but if you have,
yeah,
the Kaigeki, the monster that special summons one from your hand, which is good, and he has a bounce effect, but the bounce effect, I've always felt like was the win harder part, but besides that, him being a 1700 beat stick is what... He has a good effect, but he also has a win harder effect. But he also is a 1700 beat stick that could have a relevant effect. So that's where I jump back and forth on this one. And I think this is one of those cards that could trap people in the sense, like, because
I'd run 1.
I ended up never running it. And the reason I never ran it is because, like, I would run it at 1 a few times, and then I ended up getting screwed over by it and everything. But then, but also that, yeah, I'd end up getting, like, screwed over by it and everything, and then it just being a dead card and everything at certain points of the game. And it's, like, it's good in, like, the mid-game, if you have, like, a bunch of 6 Samurais in your graveyard, because then you can summon it, and if you have one on the field, you bounce a card, which is good. But at the same time, you also can get into that position where he's your only 6 Samurai monster in your starting hand. Let's say, for some reason, you just open up God-Awful, right? Like, you open up all your staple cards, like Twin Twisters and Raigekis, and, like, him, and then, like, the other card is, like, the Zanji, the one copy of Zanji that we're running, right? Well, you lost because of Inchi, because almost any other 6 Samurai would have been fine there. More Akizun. So, yeah. Like, and as I said, I build my decks for consistency and, like, being good in almost any circumstance. And the only reason I run 1 Zanji is because the one copy of a bad card usually doesn't usually won't hinder your deck too much, but if you start running multiple of cards that like just have these very situational effects, they'll start clogging it up and you'll slow down your deck as a whole.
Okay, we can move on then. It's one of those cards.
Yeah.
It's good, it's bad.
Nishi and Nisashi, I wouldn't run him.
Yeah, no, he's terrible. He's an old 6 samurai, no good.
He can attack twice, but that doesn't do anything with only 1400 attack.
No. Advisor?
Right. That doesn't do anything at all.
Yeah,
like,
no.
It doesn't even have real synergy with the deck. It just is there.
I've seen it sideboarded once or twice back in the day, but even then, it's
Alright. Moving on to red, aka Mizuho. I like this card.
They were terrible, but now they might be fine because of gates.
I like this card. When I first played Six Samurais, Rhoda was at 3, and so was their Smoke Signal, but Gate was banned. So, and it was fine because having 3 Rhodas, 3 Mizuhos, and or 3 Rhodas and 3 Smoke Signals meant that this card, you could always get their double special summon effect off, which was fine. And it as itself is a 1600 monster, and it's a level 3, which means you can go into your synchro plays with it, is why I liked it.
Yeah, no, I played when Gate was a thing, and it was really fun to just sit there and gate out on them with them. I then kind of cut them after I played a few games, because someone's like, Gate's no longer a thing, is it really that good? I'm like, oh, good point.
I had it with Gate, and I played it without Gate too. So like without Gate, it seemed fine, but it was more that like there wasn't any better Six Samurais.
Yeah, but moving on, it's. I mean, I think it's worth it if we're running the Gate build, but even then, it still feels.
I think if we're running the Gate build, the maximum amount you should run is like 2.
So 2 of those, fine. And then we get to the Hand of the Six Samurai. It used to be an okay card, but now it's terrible.
It's too slow.
Yeah.
You have to tribute a Six Samurai and control probably the only other one you have to destroy 1 monster on the field.
It can tribute itself.
Oh, it can?
Yes.
Okay, but still, like, you still have to... Tributing itself, the only way... Okay, so the only cards that this card will be good with is the blue, which has an effect when it's tributed.
But no, it's too slow. You have way better removal at your fingertips now. In a format where there's not much removal, it's a fine card. But this format, it's terrible and slow.
Alright, Six Samurai Shinae.
Yes.
This you play 2 of this. If you're gonna run the red one, you have to run this one, right? If you're playing Mizuho, you have to play Shinae. They work well together and everything, and that's all there is to it. If you don't want to run either of them, that is fine too. You just gotta start, but you gotta end up. But if you're gonna play one of them, you have to play the other.
Well, no, because if you get the Gate out, you can destroy your opponent's whole field if you have a Kaizen, the red and blue, because what you do is you special summon, or you normal Mizuho, special Kaizen, and then special Shinai, tribute Kaizen to destroy something, then you tribute Shinai, and you have Gate on the field too, by the way, and then get back the Kaizen, special the Kaizen, use the Gate to recycle the Shinai, and then you just keep generating 4.
Mizuho's a once per turn effect.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Oh, yeah, you have to... Oh,
you have to summon out more with Gate, probably.
Yeah, you have to get the Gate going, and I remember there was an old loop with it. It was terrible, but it happened.
We have to keep carrying.
I'm recording.
Okay.
But
But there's a loop. I can't remember it. Moving on. Kamon sucks.
He destroys the face-up Speller Trap card. That's not going to help most. And he requires another one. In Pendulum format, I guess there could have been an argument for him, but I don't see it. I never did, really.
Yaichi sucks because they can just flip it in response.
Yep, and then he doesn't get, and then there's no point to having his effect.
Yaezera sucks. Attacking directly sucks. Unless you're running the janky combo where you're turning that into a 2000 and then pumping it up somehow.
Attacking directly is okay if the monster has a relevant, like, when it deals battle damage ability. Other than that, it's not even, and even then it's not, like, super amazing. It's just okay.
Spirit of the Six Samurai I've seen run it one. I have been one of those people that's run it. You really don't like it?
No.
Oh. It's kind of a win harder card in some instances. In others, it turns your Shien into a 3000 Wrecking Ball that draws you a card.
But then again, okay, so also the way I build Six Samurais is I don't like sitting on Shien.
Yeah.
Sitting on Shien, I've always was like, no. I want to summon a lot of things. I want to OTK, and I want to have Shien as backup to make sure my OTKs go through and to stop their mirror forces.
Fair enough.
That is what I'm going for.
Moving on. But Spirit is, depending on the person and what they're doing, it can be fine or it can be terrible. Elder of the Six Samurai, you run 3 just because it's Cyber Dragon.
It's a Cyber Dragon, and it works really well with their only good tuner at this moment in the TCG.
Kageki, you run 3 because it special summons your 6 samurais.
Yep.
It's a no-brainer. It does what you want it to do.
It also gains attack if you control another 6
Foot
samurai.
Soldier is terrible.
It's too slow.
Too slow.
Does it, and it only summons a level 3 or lower.
It's terrible.
Kagemusha.
I run 3 in the build because you're running the spell.
I do too.
Okay,
so we agree on that.
It's your tuner. That's really all it is. It has an effect, and I've gotten the effect off once and made an opponent go, what?
It's your tuner, and it's your best monster.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of your best monsters, I should say. It's not the best card in the deck, but it's one of them.
Next. Squire sucks.
It doesn't do anything.
Maybe if it's honest, but it doesn't.
You get to save it from battle for a turn, but, like, you could always just destroy another 6 samurai, usually.
Yeah.
Actually, we're not, besides Zanji, we're not running any of the ones that do that in our main deck. But that's fine. I mean, but that's fine. The legendary 6 samurai Shien does.
You run 3 of it. I don't care who you are.
2.
What?
Yeah. Like, I don't see. Okay, so you run 3, okay? But what is, like, the third one just, I don't know. Part of me just said to run, like, part of me just feels like running 2 usually. I mean, he is the bread and butter of the deck, and if they keep, actually, you know what? No, run 3 of him because Solemn Strike.
Yeah, I'm seeing here. It's like he'll talk himself through it.
Okay.
Solemn Warning and Solemn Strike are both cards that are run.
Yeah, and okay. Dueling Network has taught me one thing. Has me have to say this from when I used to play on Dueling Network. Sheen cannot negate Solemn Warning and Solemn Strike on himself because he's not technically on the field, and because it's a spell speed 3.
Shien, the Shadow of the Six Samurai Shien. I have run 1 before because you have a really neat trick with them. But that's because you target Kageki, turn Kageki into a 2000 attack, and then Kageki's effect kicks in and turns him into a 3500. That's literally why I run him. One of him, because it's a neat trick.
It's fine. It takes up space in your extra deck, but the way.
But it also generates counter for the gate.
Yeah, All right, 3 smoke signals is what you should run in this because it's a searcher.
Searcher.
It searches out all your important pieces.
6 strike triple impact is so situational, you don't want that.
It's such a win harder card. Like I said,
You might as well have Raigeki, Twin Twisters, or Raigeki and Twin Twisters, because that's all this card does, except for it makes you choose one.
Yeah.
It's terrible. No. Cunning of the Sixth Samurai. I have played this once. And that was because I think I sideboarded it, because a lot of other people I played against like playing Six Samurais, and it's a really neat sideboard card.
But like, I wouldn't run it. I wouldn't even sideboard it.
It was a funny trick.
Yeah, it doesn't actually like progress your game state like you think it would, because you get to summon one at your graveyard, but you have to send one too.
But look at that artwork. He's got a laser coming out of his eye. It's amazing.
That's not a reason to run it.
Okay, but asceticism, I've never been able to say that right.
Asceticism
of the Six Samurai.
Run 3.
Run 3.
It's special summon. It makes you Shien. Legendary Six Samurai Shien.
Yeah. And if not, it makes you a generic rank 4 or rank 3.
Yeah.
6 Scroll of Samurai, you're not running Great Shogun Shien, so you don't run this.
I wouldn't run this even if I did run Great Shogun Shien.
I played back in Classic Six Samurai era. That's all we had.
Alright.
Okay. Gateway, you're running 1. You'd run 3, but you can only run 1. You'd run 5, but you can only run 1.
Alright. Shien's Dojo.
Well, until Gate came back, Dojo was fine. I don't even know if I'd run it anymore.
I wouldn't.
It's like the fixed version of Gate, but worse.
On so many levels.
Yeah.
I
Six Samurai United. This is a card you can run at 3. I thought you were going to say 2, but no, it's 3.
It's 3. They summon each other out on it and everything, and when we get to the staple cards, we'll it'll be fine at 3, and you'll see why.
It's to tell you what it does. It just draws you 2 cards if you resolve it right.
It can draw you 1 card if you're in a really bad circumstance.
I've done it once, and it saved me.
Legendary Ebon Steed.
Terrible. It's an equip spell. Equip spells are terrible.
It better win you the game or do something amazing.
Oh no, I get to destroy this instead. That doesn't do anything for you. It's terrible.
Alright, first field spell. Shien's Castle of Mist. When a 6 Samurai monster is attacked, the attacking monster loses 500 damage 500 attack during damage calculation. That it will never be relevant.
And if they take your 6 Samurai from you, it works against you.
It'll never be relevant, because if they really, really can't attack over the 500 difference, they'll just use Castell or Twin Twister or many of the other things to pop or spell or trap.
You'll be next leveled. It is a neg 1. It doesn't progress the game. Temple of 6.
It just makes your opponent's monster lose attack. And once again, it doesn't protect itself. So like Twin Twister, MST, Castell, Tornado Dragon, any of these cards are just boom, gone.
Doesn't progress the game. Double-edged sword technique.
2.
2? I run it at 2. It's literally, it is what its namesake is. You can literally lose the game if your opponent just goes, okay, just end turn.
Yeah. But it is a recovery play, right? So
yes.
there's a difference between win harder and recover. So win harder cards, I don't think should be ran, but recovery cards like this are fine.
If Soul Charge was at 3, I don't think I would run this card.
Yeah.
It's just a fixed, or it's what we had before Soul Charge, and then when Soul Charge went to 1, it's like, well, I guess we have to run it. It's just a little bit of recovery. It's fine. Backs to the wall. I played this once. And I so next leveled the opponent.
Don't do it.
It's a terrible card. It puts your life at 100. And you can't activate it if your life is at 50 or 100. So it's not like it's like, oh, I'm just going to next level them and keep going. No. It's terrible. Return the Six Samurai. You might as well be running back to the front. Or call the Haunted. So we were on double-edged sword technique, right?
No, we were on return.
Okay.
We just finished talking about return and why you shouldn't run it because double-edged sword technique does what it does, but better.
Yeah.
Alright. 6-style dual wield. If the only monster you control is one 6 samurai monster in face-up attack position, you get to target 2 cards and return them to the hand. If it didn't require exactly one 6 samurai monster in face-up attack position, if it just said, if you control a 6 samurai, return 2 cards for the hand, I would say, hey, if you're going to run the stun version of 6 Samurais where you just sit on Sheehan, that's fine. But I don't see it in this in any other circumstance. And I don't and terrible. I want to yeah. So we agree not to run it.
Yeah.
Sheehan scheme. No. Don't do it.
You have double-edged sword technique.
This only gets it from the hand.
Oh, wow.
It's even worse.
Oh, okay.
And all the ones that we're playing can summon themselves or summon more 6 samurais anyway. Breakthrough.
Select one 6 samurai monster you control. If select monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, great. And all 6 samurai monsters you control can attack your opponent directly during the battle phase of this turn. Oh.
It's a win harder card.
Okay. Seems terrible.
But it's a win harder card.
I never actually read this card before.
Neither did I. I just always assumed it was terrible. And it was right.
Okay, next card. Swift Samurai Storm.
No. Each turn after the first time a 6 samurai monster you control battles, all your 6 samurai gain 300 freaking attack. I don't like it.
I don't like it. I knew you were going to say that. It's terrible. Don't run it. The attack increase is not worth it because it requires you to attack and fall for Mirror Force or whatever else the opponent is playing. Next. Swift Strike Armor.
I don't like it because, like I said, most of your 6 samurais are going to be able to special summon themselves anyway. So this is just takes up a slot in your deck for no real reason.
Yep. I've seen people run it and do things with it. I'm on the fence. It's funny, but I don't see it working because most of the time on a 6 samurai deck, you're just trying to set up a good field and be reactive rather than you're more of a reactive deck or just kill your opponent with damage deck.
Yeah. All right, they're counter trap. Musakani, Magatama.
I run it at 1 or 2. I like it. But Solemn Strike is now affordable for everybody.
So I think that you might as well just be running Strike or Warning. Like I never liked this card because I was just like, why would I play this when I could play Warning or I could make Stardust Dragon? I mean, I know this is a counter trap, but still.
It's okay. It's an okay card. I have played it at 1 or 2 once, but at this point you can run just Strikes and Warning.
Yeah.
You're pretty much doing the same thing without conditional rules.
Alright, so at this point, we have 29 cards in our main deck and 4 cards in our extra deck, right?
Right.
Alright. So at this point, since if we're not going to run this trap, alright, let's say we're not going to run the counter trap because there are better options out there.
We put the Solemn Brigade in.
we fill the deck full of staple cards, like
Solemn Strike.
Reinforcements of the Army,
Oh yeah.
right? Because they're all warriors, so you'll get to search for any of them.
Yep.
Also, Smoke Signal only searches for the level 3s. Rhoda, Reinforcements of the Army can search for your Keevans as well.
Yeah.
You don't want to search Sanji with it unless you're really dire.
But for the most part, to not make this video like 50 minutes or something, this is where you start filling in the staples that the deck needs, and knowing what those are is as easy as a Google away, typically.
Yeah.
Like Solemn Strike, you're going to run at least 2. I don't think 3 is good because you're going to kill yourself running 3.
Alright, so I think...
And a warning.
Yeah. If you're going to run 3 strikes and a warning, you just killed yourself. You're basically playing the game with 1,500 life points. And we're already playing double-edged sword technique, so I'd run the old Solemn Brigade, which is in this terms, it would be 2 strikes and 1 warning.
Yep.
Alright, so the rest is just Regekis, Twin Twisters, I'd probably put in an Upstart Goblin just because. And just fill out the deck full of good spell cards and like that, and then like good trap cards like we mentioned the Solemns,
Cosmic
probably
Cyclones.
A tier 4 or 2.
You probably run Cosmic Cyclones because not a lot of cards in this deck like to be discarded.
That's true. Like you, instead of in that case, then I think in most situations, I think MST is like a little bit better.
No.
Because if you're playing if you're playing Cosmic Cyclone, and the Solemn Brigade, then it's almost the same as running the 3rd strike.
No.
You're starting at 2,500 life points.
You face the Pendulum deck, you're going to want the Cosmic Cyclones. You face the True Draco deck, you're going to want the Cosmic Cyclones.
That's fair.
You face any deck that likes their spells and traps in the graveyard, you want the Cosmic Cyclone.
True. In that sense, yeah. I guess in the current meta, I would do the Cosmic Cyclones.
You can run Soul Charge at 1, but I've always found that card is just... It's fine, but it's not. But it is. At 1, it feels like it's a luck sack when you draw it.
Alright. So yeah. So right now, at the exact deck, we have 30 cards. We gave you 30 main deck cards to work with and 4 extra deck cards to work with. At this point, you can fill in the blanks full of good staple cards that we mentioned. A lot of people don't like running, at least a lot of the pro players don't like running it in the main deck, but I like running Regeki in the main deck. A consideration that you could run too for another staple card would be Forbidden Chalice.
Yeah, that's a good main board.
And stuff like that. Just good cards like that. What they do is they allow you to progress your game state and everything after that, and they're just considered good staple cards that can fit into anything.
The point of this is not really to build 6 Samurais. It's to kind of give you a deck that has a lot of terrible cards that you could run that you don't want to run.
Yeah, we're trying to wean out the bad cards and give you examples and everything to help make you a better deck builder.
Yeah. But that is all. Have a good one and think before you play cards and think to yourself, does this progress my game? Does this do anything for me before you put it in a deck?
Alright.
And
until next time.
That's all.